Matthew chapter 23 is one of the most scathing rebukes that you'll find within the Scriptures. And this was from Jesus to the Pharisees. And if you were to kind of go through it and just kind of do some markings, you'd find that he used the word woe. Woe to you, scribes, Pharisees, hypocrites. This word woe found in 13, 15, 16, 23, 25, 27, 29. So we see they're in trouble. But then he characterized them, or might even say call them names. We find him calling them hypocrites in verse 13, hypocrites in verse 15, blind guides in verse 16, blind fools in verse 17, blind men in verse 19, hypocrites in verse 23, hypocrites in verse 25, hypocrites in verse 27. You know, if somebody were to say, Steve, have you ever called anybody hypocrites and blind guides and blind fools and blind men and hypocrites again and again and again? No. And somebody said, well, would you? You know, I'd have to be very, very careful about that. I'm not the Lord. He knew the hearts of all men. I don't know the hearts of all men. But you know, as I read this, I realize there's going to be a day, and I'm going to hear, as it were, the Lord's opinion, not just about the Pharisees, but about Steve Housley. And I don't want to hear, not the first woe, much less 7 of them. And I don't want to hear hypocrites, not even once, much less 5 times. And I don't want to hear blind guides or blind fools or blind men. It's not what I want to hear from him. Rather, I would hope that he would say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. So what will God say about me on that final day? What will God say about you on that final day? We know what he said about the Pharisees in Matthew 23. What about you and me? If we could assist you in your obedience tonight, the song is Come to Jesus. No better invitation song could there be. We could assist you in your obedience and baptism, or we could pray for you if that's the need. Please come as we stand and sing.